Pie in the Sky Media.
Yes, it is. Three, two, one.
Sandy, my darling, you hurt me
Hello.
real bad.
Welcome back to another bonus episode of Criminal Mischief with Carolyn and Brandon. I'm Brandon, one of your co-hosts, along with the great Carolyn Ossorio, who was nice enough to join us again tonight. Carolyn, how was your week?
I had a great week. Halloween was super fun. Watched my son play soccer. He made a goal. Soccer is not the same as like football where they're making goals all the time. It's like a goal is
Boring.
a
We could say it's
big
boring.
deal.
Yeah, it's boring. Unless
it's
like you
not.
really know the game. Unless you really know the game.
No, you know when it's boring is when they don't work together and there's people not when there's just people who think they're hot shit and then they don't pass and then they go up there and they make that then it's boring. But when they're working together as a team, it's riveting.
That's my point. That's my point. So I don't know the game well enough to know when it becomes beautiful, right? But people who do know the game, they get so excited and you could hear like when you're watching the crowd starts to swell and I'm like, all they're doing is running down the fucking pitch. What are they freaking out about? But a buddy of mine from England who's a huge soccer fan, he's like, oh, because they can tell the offense and how the defense isn't set up to really defend against the play they're running. Like they're running a play right now? Holy shit. Like I had no idea. So I would imagine if I knew the game a little bit better, it would be more enjoyable to watch, even though there's no scoring. Because I always break his balls. I went, oh, it looks like it's another thrilling 1-0 match. Wow.
I don't really know all the rules and stuff like that. I'm vibing with like the energy. Like the kids that I've gotten to, I don't know them, but I know like there's this one kid who's like a total bruiser. And usually I wouldn't like that, because I don't want anyone to get hurt and all that. But like it's kind of funny, because he's like, anyway, there's just, as you watch week after week after week and you see them working together, because it just becomes something, I don't watch soccer just to watch it. I'm only watching my son's games.
Malcolm Gladwell did a cool thing about soccer where he was talking about, I forget the conceit of the entire kind of philosophy that he was talking about, but it had to do with how soccer is different from basketball, basically. And he brought up LeBron James, how a dominant player like LeBron James or Luka Doncic or one of these generational players can kind of take a game over and carry his whole team and it be one and the other four guys aren't really doing much. One guy can take it over. He goes, in soccer, that can't happen because you're only as good as the guy who's passing the ball or not. Like you can't have one guy effectively go like coast to coast because he'd get tripped or get knocked down or he'd get collapsed upon by the defense. So you have to have a series of like 5 or 6 like perfect plays leading
I
up to
know.
the goal, right? So it's you're not
Or
really going
even
to have one guy.
you can see that they're thinking like when you
Yeah,
get it's such a metaphor for life because the
yeah,
kids get and I totally feel this way too. Like you finally get by the goal and you just want to kick it. It takes the restraint
right.
to like wait
Find the open
and
man,
then
right?
go.
Like there was a whole Ted
Yeah.
Lasso episode about that, like having your best player be a decoy. You're like, what? Everyone thinks the ball's going to him and he passes to the open man, like all that. Yeah, it's really,
Yeah, I mean I think that sports, I think it's such a metaphor for everything. It's
yeah.
like if you choose to take the lessons, And so
The
anyway,
Dodgers,
I
the
love
Dodgers won
seeing
the World Series. That's a metaphor for money being able to buy happiness.
Okay. Are you sour graping?
No, 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 not at all.
Yankee? Yankee?
Listen. I live in Los Angeles. I
hmm
love, I love the city. When the Lakers
hmm
win, when the Dodgers win, it's just a better place to live because it's such a Laker town. It's such a Dodger
Yeah.
town. And
Yeah.
they spent so much money on their payroll. I'm glad that the heat is off my Yankees because for years it was my Yankees. Oh, you're buying championships, and we did. Yeah, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
We did. Now it's the Dodgers' turn, and they broke the system. They completely broke the system with how they're structuring these massive financial deals for their players, where all the money is deferred for years and years and years down the road so they could stay under the salary cap and just keep getting these great players. So
Did you love Moneyball?
I did love Moneyball. I loved Moneyball. I love the book and I really love the movie. I love the movie.
Mhm.
I love how they did it. They did a great job. Great job.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was actually up in your neck of the woods picking up a car and I flew up to Seattle, got the car and was
You know
driving
what's
back.
crazy is I remember this story now. This
Yeah,
is sad. This
I
was
was driving back.
your grandpappy's.
My brother was
Yes.
living in San Francisco, and
Hmm.
that was the halfway point, and I stopped off, and it was their 19th win, the A's 19th win in a row, and I was listening to it on the radio as I was driving out of town. It's pretty great. So that's I always
Hmm.
remember that winning streak. Yep. Yep.
Hmm.
Good times.
Hmm.
Good times. All right, well, listen, let's get to this episode because I have a lot of thoughts and a lot of
Yeah,
feelings about this.
yeah, I bet.
I have a lot of feelings about this, and I'll tell you.
Do tell.
I kind of did an about face in the second half because leading up to it, I'll admit it, I'm not a gun guy. I'm not a gun guy. I'm not a violence guy, but I am a enough is a fucking enough guy.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
if my house is burgled, and that's a funny word that you use, that's the only reason I'm using it. Normally I would say robbed because I'm not from the 20s, but my house is burgled
Hey,
over.
okay, Caper. Okay, Caper.
If my house is
You think you're gonna come at me? Okay. All right.
if my house is the target of these brazen thieves over and over and over again,
Hmm.
eventually I'm going to retaliate. I am, especially the person I am today with the family, with my kids here. I'd sit there with a gun.
You don't think your little window traps are gonna do it?
They might. I'm saying if the window trap stopped working and I'm being robbed on successive occasions, and they're actually taking shit that's important to me. They're stealing his coin collection. They're stealing his guns. It's instantly becomes dangerous when they steal your guns. And if they come back, you have to assume that they have your guns.
Hmm.
So leading up to it, I was like, all right, these thieves have it coming. And they had something coming, but they didn't have this coming.
No way. No way.
I
No
can
way.
say that now too, because leading up to the part where you actually find out what this guy did, I'm going, hey, listen, you mess with the bull, you're gonna get the horns. But whoa, I,
Well,
I
and
had
I
to
think
pull
that that's
back.
really
Yeah,
where I wanted the kind of focus of it to be. I was actually thinking of like the Telltale Heart and just like the floorboard and just the getting crazy
yeah.
and I didn't want to get too in the weeds with that because that's kind of like insane.
But can
And I
you
think that
blame him? But can you blame him for getting crazy? He was robbed tons of times.
I mean, absolutely. Like I am the type of person when I'm staying at a hotel, I literally, and this is embarrassing, but I'll put a chair underneath or by the door, just to sleep, just because I just don't, I'm not used to, I have such a big family and I've had such a big family for so long that it's like I'm just not used to you know,
Solitude.
solo solitude. I love solitude though. Like I like alone time. I like to do my stuff and I'm not like a shut in at all. But like yeah, I mean you get and in the dark of the night and then you feel like you got to protect this stuff, but I think that with him it really went into his entitlement and then the way and I don't want to get ahead of stuff if there was other things you wanted to talk about, but just I really wanted to make it about him and not about the teens because they did not I mean, it goes without saying, like I mean, he totally was like a hunter and
Yeah. All right,
lured
what
them
if it was
in.
some? All right. What if it was something different? What if it wasn't completely set up? Because he set them up. He saw the car. He
Yeah,
moved his
yeah.
car. He went in
He
the
wasn't, he
side.
was not afraid.
He made him think that they weren't home. He was inviting this in. He was. Let's just be
Totally.
honest. He was inviting it in. But
He was
let's
luring them. He
but
was
let's say, they
baiting
didn't even need
them.
to be
Yeah,
lured because they had done it before
yeah,
on
yeah,
that fucking
yeah,
house. He was an easy
yeah,
mark. Now, what if,
yeah.
for example, let's just adjust some of the levers a little bit. Let's say his car
Okay.
was in the shop. All right,
Hmm.
that he didn't lure them and that
Hmm.
he happened to be downstairs in his chair and since his guns were stolen, he was cleaning one of the new guns that he just bought. And he
Hmm.
heard that shit. He heard the glass break. He goes, and he put two and two together. He goes, they think I'm not home because my car's not here. Holy shit. And he's scared. The adrenaline starts pumping. And he stands there and now he's lying in wait with the gun. And the first kid comes down the stairs and he shoots him. All right. Did that kid deserve
Hmm.
it? Did he deserve that shot? My answer
No,
is
because he could have called the police.
okay.
If he would have called the
Put
police
yourself
and
in
he
his
didn't,
position. Put yourself in his position. He'd been robbed a bunch of times. He's an old man. He's alone. He doesn't know how many there are. They probably have his guns because his guns were stolen. Okay. What if he calls the cops and then he lets them know what his position is? You
no,
don't make any sound.
you shoot him in the foot.
Okay,
You don't.
exactly. I'm not saying you kill him. I'm saying one shot.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant
No,
killing. No,
no. One
no.
shot. The kid takes one in the leg and he's on the ground and the girl runs and you call the cops. Does the kid deserve that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
I agree.
I think that if you're asking me, and I don't have guns either, but if you're asking me if I was in my home and somebody broke in and they were coming down the stairs and I said, freeze, stop, I have a gun, and I might just shoot a random shot just to let them know, like, hey, I have a weapon. And if they kept coming and I saw, like, yeah, I probably would just
Yeah.
because I'd be so afraid. I would be
Yeah.
terrified.
Yep.
You know,
Now let me
and
ask you
it's
something else. Let me ask you something else. There's a couple of things we, I don't want to sound so like prisoner of the moment here because everybody's on the spectrum nowadays, but does this guy seem a little on the spectrum to you? Like the
you
way
know what
he
he
was,
seemed he
well, go ahead.
seemed very entitled. He seemed very entitled. Like he is this guy, this white guy, this old guy that has, he's had his career and they were messing with his joy. He kept, his I'm unhappy. He felt entitled to kill him. And I felt like the way that he referred to them as being like vermin, I mean, it just takes you back to like
No.
him being some kind of something, the way he was speaking to her. Like this is like old stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but when he
Like
was
I see it
talking,
more as that. But
when
yeah,
he,
was he awkward? Did he seem like was I surprised that he was a bachelor? You
no,
know?
not at all
No.
surprised that he was a bachelor.
I mean, when
Now,
he says like I didn't go to Thanksgiving because that's awkward or whatever, like
no, I
yeah, I'm
didn't.
sure.
Since mine was ruined, I didn't want to ruin yours. But he, he seemed a little childlike at times, like saying like
Definitely, he
red
seemed like a
buttons.
brat.
Talking about red buttons. I'm like, that's something that a kindergartner uses, like big feelings. And oh, is that a red button for you? Okay, let's not press the red button on Susie because she'll have a temper tantrum.
You know what? He mentioned him being bullied. This was old stuff for him.
Yeah,
Like this was him getting revenge on anybody who'd wronged him. The girl was maybe it was a former lover or girlfriend or something, or women in general. Like, oh,
maybe.
she's wearing a hard rock candy shirt or whatever he
Yeah,
said.
hard
Like he
candy.
was like, yeah, he was like complete. I mean, he was just like living out his fantasy of revenge against them.
See, I don't know if I agree with that. I think at least given some of the things he said in his statement, he seemed almost to have like disassociative kind of disorder. Like he didn't realize he had like not enough emotional involvement in it. One time he said he moved it because he didn't want to see it anymore, talking about the boy's body, referred to it as
Yeah.
an it. And I just had
Yeah.
visions of Buffalo Bill. It puts the lotion in the basket because he didn't want
Hmm.
to humanize his victim. So Buffalo Bill was referring to the senator's daughter as it.
I I think that if he wouldn't have said coupled that with vermin,
Right. Well,
he didn't even
exactly.
consider
Granted.
them as being human.
Yeah.
You know,
Granted.
he
Granted.
did not consider them as being human. And just the way that he taunted them, like, you're gonna die. I mean, it's so evil,
All right. Now,
but
is there a way?
cloaked in this Midwestern kind of like,
Well, he was a
I'm a good
hunter.
person.
he was a hunter. So is there a version of it in your head where that you're gonna die wasn't taunting? It was he was familiar.
Oh no, it
Hold on,
was
no, wait, let's just
completely
just hold on.
taunting.
The
Okay.
wounds. He knew that they were kill wounds. So he knew right away. He was just letting her know. Matter of fact, that you're gonna die. These are I killed you. These are kill shots. Don't bother asking
No,
me to call an ambulance or to ask you for help. You're gonna die. Like that's
he
how it seemed to me.
the his tone of voice, the way he talked to them,
But then he called her a bitch. Yeah, it's true.
he didn't just call her a bitch. He was like, bitch.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah. It
mean,
was
it's
it
so
was
ugly.
venom.
It's so ugly,
Yeah.
you know?
But he was just so calm throughout his entire statement. Do you think that was because he thought he would be able to be protected by those stand your ground laws, even though he violated every single, like
You know what
everything
I
they say, you
think?
could do this unless all of the, and every one of those things he didn't do. He violated
I've thought
every
about
aspect of
this.
the stand your ground. Yeah. But it
I've thought
sounded like
about
he
this.
seemed like he was untouchable. Like, I did everything right and I'm laying it all out for you. He even said, I fired more shots than I needed to. What did he
I
think
know.
was
You know
going
what I think happened? This
on?
is what I think happened. I think that he stayed in that basement, which is so creepy and terrible, 24 hours with two people you've just
Yeah.
killed and drug and put on tarps and whatever. Not whatever, but you know what I mean? Like it's the awfulness of it is beyond, right? But like he knew with the attorneys, like he knew he was in trouble. He knew.
The first movie
Do you know that this franchise has made like $400 million over
from books
over
and
the last.
films and TVs, there's Amityville The Awakening, there's Amityville Horror, Amityville Possession. Yeah, it's a brand, it's a franchise.
I know it's just it's crazy how the whole thing started though,
Yep.
you know?
Yep. It
And I
started
think that
with
like with The Exorcist was, and maybe it was because I was just on my mind, but it
yeah.
felt like The Exorcist opened the door because like you watch that and I'm like, I can't believe that they let this play back in
Well,
the
that was
day.
based on a
Like
true story, allegedly. Did you know that?
I didn't know that, but
So there was a kid, I think in Ohio, somewhere in the Midwest, named they gave him like a fake name because he was a kid, Roland Doe. Instead of John Doe, they gave him the first name Roland for whatever reason. So it's based
Mhm.
on like police reports and psychiatric accounts of the possession of a 12-year-old kid named Roland Doe. And the author of the book, maybe it was Detroit. Anyway, the author of the book was, I think, a reporter in the city where it was happening, and so had a lot of firsthand knowledge of it, and then changed everybody's names and made it a girl instead of a boy and changed the city and did all that. But apparently that's what happened. This kid, Roland Doe, this was his affliction, and it like caused the church to like dust off the ritual romanum and go like, oh yeah, these rites still do exist within the Catholic Church, and is there anybody who still does this shit, and then that happened, and then the ripple effect went all the way to the Vatican Council in 1992 with Pope John Paul II, where they kind of rewrote the exorcism guidelines, where before anything, and it was mentioned in The Exorcist, but it became canon after this Vatican Council in 92, that before a bishop or a priest or anyone can okay an exorcism, that you have to completely exhaust all medical possibilities. Like you have to go through CAT scans and CT scans and MRIs to see if there's tumors, to see if it's mental disease, like all. And if all of that is a no, then okay, you can go for it. And usually what you read about is by the time all of those things are exhausted, the person's fine and there isn't any need for it anymore. Very rarely is it like, oh wow, they're still fucked up and they know a bunch of shit that they shouldn't know, like unknowable knowledge. They're speaking in languages that they haven't learned or that no one's spoken in 1,000 years. And I guess there's instances where those things are true. I don't personally, I don't know. The truest or most valid, I guess, account normal, like contemporary account. I mean, was this kid, I think it was in Chicago. This kid was having episodes and people thought he was possessed. And so they take him to like a clinic or a hospital and they transfer him to a pediatric psychiatric ward. Okay. So he's surrounded. Now, this is the one thing that makes it legit for me. He's surrounded by career medical professionals. There's like three or four people in the room. There's a doctor, two nurses, and like I don't know, a physician's assistant in there. And they all separately swore with their jobs at stake to the same thing, that this kid walked up a wall and then, yeah, not like ran up and did like a gymnastics kind of like breakdancing move or 1 foot on and then no, like he like took several steps up a wall and then like came down and landed on his feet.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the time, these cases of possession that you read about, they're all second and third hand, or they're a couple hundred years old, or it was just the kid and the mom in the room, or whatever. This is the only one that I found where there are medical professionals that swore to this, like in an affidavit, that they watched this kid walk up a wall.
I know, but look at this thing with the Amityville horror with the attorney who was like, "Listen, we're gonna need you to claim insanity, okay?
You could
And
sell a
then I'm gonna
book.
make this little right." I know. So
He's a
it's like,
charlatan.
you
Yeah.
hmm?
He's a charlatan. It's like another great Guillermo del Toro movie, Nightmare Alley, that kind of pulls the curtain back on these 1920s spiritualists, who could talk to the dead, like what you think these
Hmm.
people are new, like the Hollywood psychic or crossing over with whoever douchebag that is. None of that's new, right? It's been a carnival trick for over 100 years. And
I know. I'm just saying, like, legit, supposedly legit people were involved in this thing and saw that they could make a lot of money, and it's like
he was
it
right.
just is kind of they were right.
To your point, $400 million.
I know, and that's what I mean. Like, it was a coordinated effort. They knew that as soon as they went out for 28 days, they started having a press conference. They then invited, people to the house, and then the people just got all like, into it. And I think too, it's that suggestion. Like if you're in a house where you know that people have been murdered and horrifically murdered, six people, four
Yeah.
children, right? And just being there is going to be creepy. And then you have somebody starting to act weird and it's in the middle of the night. And it's like, human beings kind of like latch onto stuff, so it's just like fed into itself. I find that whole thing fascinating. Not the possession, not that, but just what we do and how we want to, like your mom, a woman of science, somebody who
Yes.
who would normally like turn her nose up to something like that. And
Yeah.
yet she's like licking her fingers, like page
Yeah.
turning, all that.
Because
And then the lore of it of like, oh, I don't even want my son to read this.
to
So of
read
course,
it,
then
because
you want to read it.
it's terrifying. But think of, it was like something like 1 million people thought that War of the Worlds was real, that we were being invaded by Martians.
I know, I
People lost
know,
their
I know.
fucking minds.
I know.
Yeah,
It's
we're
it's
we're
it's
it's we're susceptible
we're
to
we're
suggestion.
highly suggestible.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think that that's really interesting and I'm surprised that they haven't done more or maybe they haven't, I just haven't tapped into it about the psychology behind the whole thing of like how it all unfolded because it's pretty incredible. I mean,
Yeah, well,
anyway.
I'll tell you, not to make it about me, but with my show that got the TV treatment, we were told by the execs that when they heard the pitch, like we knew we were doing it right away because Satan sells, because people are scared. People are fucking scared, and they think, like why women listen to true crime. Maybe they'll pick up some tips so it won't happen to them. Believers listen to stories about demonic possession, so they're like, okay, I know what to look for, so I know when to call my priest. And after, because I did the second season of Devil Within was about a possession in the UK in 74, 75, right after The Exorcism came out. And that caused
Yes.
such a huge spike in reports of demonic possession. Huge
Yes,
spike.
that's
Everyone
what
thought it
I'm
was real.
saying. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. I didn't know that, but you know, it's funny. I went to the dentist today and the hygienist, I was sitting down and she's like, "Oh, you do a true crime podcast, don't you?" I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Oh, I just love true crime. We did the whole thing as, you know, it
Yep.
happens." And then she's like, "But I'm taking a break from it. I'm going to horror because I love
I need a break from the real shit. I always get
I
scared in a
know.
fake way. Yeah.
I know.
Wow.
I think that it's like there's something about, especially when there's all this strife in our lives and politics, and you know, we don't know what to hold on to. And so going to this escapism, I mean, there's just something to it because we always do that,
Yep.
you know?
Yep.
So anyway,
Well, great episode. Great episode. And if anyone out there left who hasn't seen The Exorcist yet, you got to see it. It's an
you got
absolute
to see it.
masterpiece of modern cinema.
Definitely.
It redefined the horror genre,
It
and
did.
Amityville less so. It's like, Amityville is more saccharine,
Hmm.
than The Exorcist, just because he didn't have William Friedkin. You're in the hands of a master when you're watching The Exorcist.
Mhm.
Friedkin from, gosh, French Connection and I mean, he
And
was,
the documentary, if it, I mean, I can't recommend it enough because he really talks about the process and what he did and how he made decisions and how he just felt like the whole time it was just like he's not going to say like a higher power, but like there was just so many things that just gelled and happened and
yeah,
it was really interesting, you know?
yeah, and you don't realize how many pioneering um like methods were created in that, with just with the lighting, with Max von Sydow's character when he shows up. That's an iconic bit of
I know,
cinematography.
and I know, and he explained that, and
Oh,
like
really?
when he goes right to the door, and then the girl's window is like coming out, and he knew that he wanted that image.
Yep.
And what's so cool is actually now that I'm thinking about it, I was actually thinking about you when I watched it for a second because he talked about how he was so influenced by all the different art that he loved and
Yeah.
the history of things that he loved.
Did
And I
he
know
mention
that you're really
Caravaggio at all? Did he say
I
Caravaggio with?
think so. Yes, I think
Yeah.
so. But the whole thing, like you would love it. It was so, but the how all of that influenced the music that he chose. Like anyway, it was
Ah,
incredible. Like you
William Peter
said,
Blatty. William Peter Blatty's the author, correct?
yeah,
Yes. Okay.
yeah,
William Peter Blatty.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that'll do it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep,
That's what I was trying
awesome.
to remember. Wow. Fantastic. Okay. Well, so again, happy Halloween, everybody. Check out The Exorcist and Amityville Horror. And over on a sister show on the network, Taboo Treasures, this week, they're doing a deep dive into the classic film Halloween, which also
Oh,
has, it's up there in the pantheon of genre defining horror films. So just really dig into Halloween this year and just scare the shit out of yourself. But then, you know, walk around on a sugar high because you ate all your kids' candy. Why not? Fuck it. Let go. Go for it.
hmm.
Just go
Oh
for it.
my gosh, Jamie Lee Curtis. I just love her.
Yeah.
And she, when you look at that and I watched a show about how that the making of that too, and
Yep.
like a while ago, but just be creative, folks. Like
Absolutely.
it's not like there's ever like a book on how to do things. That's what's so great. I mean, there
Yeah.
is, but like a lot of these classics, a lot of these really great movies, like they're just an amalgamation of someone's
Yeah.
creativity and just going for it. So
Orson Welles, speaking of
anyway.
Orson Welles again in Citizen Kane, all those hero shots down low, looking up at Kane. Oh
Hmm.
man, great shots. They didn't
Hmm.
exist before in movies. And so they had
Hmm.
to completely redo how a soundstage is constructed. It was the first time that you needed ceilings on the rooms in a soundstage because the camera was so low that you were going to see
Hmm.
above the wall line. And then
Hmm.
the cameras were so big that they had to break through the floor and raise the floor where the actors were to get the camera low enough to get the angles that he wanted. Like that hadn't happened
I
before.
love that.
Yeah, it's great. So you're right. Take some chances. There's no old wise man telling you there's only one way to do shit. So just
In fact, there's not.
yeah,
So do it.
just do it. Just do it. Great. Well, listen,
Just
happy
do it.
Halloween. If you like the show, please share it with friends and family. Be safe out there during the season. Keep an eye on your kids because there's a lot of fucking lunatics out there. But make sure you're following the show wherever you get your podcasts. Rate and review. Every little bit helps other people discover the show. So, and that's our goal. And consider patronizing our sponsors if you can, because we couldn't keep doing the show without them, especially Quince. Quince has been really good to us. Go to quince.com/mischief and check out what they have. I was just on their website
I've got
today.
I've got a Quince on
Yeah.
right now, so I'm a big fan.
You know they sell Christmas trees on their site. Yeah.
Well, you're talking to I know I'm gonna be reamed, but I love I'm a sucker for a real
Oh, I like a real
tree.
Christmas tree too, but it's when you see the things that Quince has, I normally wouldn't say like, oh, my awesome cashmere sweater. You could also buy, you could also ship it with a Christmas tree,
Well, you know what? And
There's so much stuff.
they have everything. It's
I
not
know.
just clothes.
They have bedding, they have luggage. I got my wife a suitcase
They're
from before we
bedding
went to Europe.
and curtains like
Yes, I
there's-
saw. They just released a lighting collection. Crazy.
I know.
Oh yeah, they're a
So
great company.
check it out.
Great company. All right. Anyway, wow, they didn't even pay us for that. You know what? That little commercial there,
I
that's
know.
how much we actually enjoy the
I
brand.
know.
I know, it's funny.
I know.
All right, cool,
Quince.
everybody. Well, listen, happy Halloween, and until next time, stay safe. We'll see you next week.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
From Pie in the Sky Media, Criminal Mischief is an EVO production, recorded live in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. We're produced by Brandon Morgan and myself, music by Soundstripe. For EVO Creative, I'm Carolyn Ossorio, your writer and host.